of the new term. Of course, those are very essential logistics when it comes to students' baggage and its handling. It's important that you do consider that particular piece of iron because it is durable and can ensure safety, especially on the part of the belongings for your son and daughter. But allow me return to the studio and take note of the Uganda People's Defence Forces Engineering Brigade operations in the country. I have with me the Public Relations Officer. I'll be introducing him, or rather telling you his name very shortly, because by saying he's a PRO, I've already introduced him. But the NEC Construction Works and Engineering Limited was incorporated on the 18th of October 1991 to handle construction and engineering works of the armed forces, government departments and some sections of the private sector. The company was established to utilize extensive manpower resources that are available within the Uganda People's Defence Forces to produce goods and services that contribute to national growth. It handles construction and engineering works for the forces, government as well as the private sector, as said. Now, as we come closer to Tarehe Sita, a significant day in the army, we look extensively at the NEC construction works. And of course, Mr. James Katongona, the PRO, is here with us. I was almost going to say Afande. But then I figured, not necessarily. Everyone that works in the military should be a soldier. But when one is, of course, it shouldn't be a problem. You're welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to you. And happy to be hosted here.
Yes, you're most welcome. I already see Uzima. I see NEC. This tells me NEC must be a multifaceted entity that has so much that it does. But please, take us through.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Katongona James, as already introduced. I'm the Public Relations Officer for the National Enterprise Corporation, in short NEC, which is the commercial arm of Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs and Uganda People's Defence Forces. I wish to make a clarification here.
Oh, please do.
This is NEC construction. This is not an engineering brigade. There is a difference between NEC Construction Works and Engineering Limited from Engineers Brigade. So NEC Construction Works and Engineering Limited is one of the subsidiaries of the National Enterprise Corporation, which is different from the Engineers Brigade.
From the Engineering Brigade.
Yes.
The UPDF.
Yes, sir.
Wow, isn't that line too thin? Just tell us why, or how different are they? Engineering Brigade of the UPDF and NEC.
Yes, like I told you, National Enterprise Corporation is the commercial arm, a legal commercial arm of the Ministry of Defence. Established by an act of Parliament in 1999. Provide goods and services for the benefit of Uganda People's Defence Forces, veterans and civil society. So you can see it is constitutionally mandated, legally mandated to do business on behalf of the army. Engineers Brigade, I don't speak for the Engineers Brigade. It is also part of the service brigades in UPDF.
All right. Now, for purposes of the layman's understanding of the modalities under which this operates, we should be very clear. The Army is under the Ministry of Defence.
Yes.
NEC is under Ministry of Defence.
Yes, please.
Then the Engineering Brigade is part of the Army.
Yes, please.
It deals exclusively with anything that concerns the army.
Yes, please.
Building camps, posts, stations, equipment, and arms for the army. That is the brigade.
Yes, please.
NEC
is the commercial arm.
Is the commercial arm of the Ministry of Defence.
Meaning that if the Ministry of Defence or UPDF wants to do business, it will do it through NEC. Yes.
All right. Because there was a bit of controversy on when should the army undertake public services and provision of some of these very wonderful infrastructure, and maybe we have just gotten the information that we do need. But of course, Tarehe Sita is upcoming, and it is a very significant aspect, especially when it comes to most of the ideals of the gentlemen and women that began the struggle. What is the relationship like right now, and what are the plans in line for that?
First of all, Tarehe Sita, today we are beginning the 1st of Feb up to 6, that is Tarehe Sita week.
Tarehe Sita week, yeah.
And Tarehe Sita, which means 6th of February, as an important day in the history of this country. That is a time when the armed rebellion was launched against the sitting government of Milton Obote in 1981. It also marks the beginning of protracted liberation struggle that culminated into removal of successive governments and establishing a more stable government. It removed a corrupt and dictatorial government and later established a stable government that has led to economic growth, that has created an environment for people to do business.
To produce good.
That is why NEC was established, to make sure that in this environment we can be able to contribute to national development and economic growth.
That is right.
Now, many activities, many projects that we are undertaking as NEC are done because there is an environment that enables us to do such activities. So today, or this week, we give back to the people. It is time now to say this is what we can contribute as a national army to Ugandans. We celebrate, we remind ourselves of the past, we celebrate our achievements, and look at a brighter future. That is why, as NEC, we contribute also to Tarehe Sita week.
That is right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now that we have what is no doubt a very good background to why you are very important to these Tarehe Sita celebrations, let me go back to the products, that's goods and services that NEC offers. If you don't mind, take us through at least 5 so that we know that if you look at this particular piece of infrastructure or a set of goods that are on the market, we know this is NEC product.
Thank you very much. NEC, in short, undertakes its businesses, commercial ventures, through its subsidiaries and joint ventures and partnerships. Because NEC is a holding company of various subsidiaries and joint ventures. And therefore, we can only talk about services, goods and services, when we look at those subsidiaries.
That is right.
So NEC has Royal Industries, which is a defense industry and ordnance factory located in Nakasongora, 135 kilometers from Kampala.
That is right.
It produces military-related products, but also produces civilian goods. One, we do manufacture furniture.
Okay.
We do, you remember when we had issues of oxygen in medical facilities?
During the COVID crisis.
During COVID period.
Yeah. The cylinders.
The cylinders. The Royal Step Team produced medical oxygen that was used in medical facilities.
Okay.
We also produce masks. You produced masks that time, and sanitizers.
Okay.
We are now doing what we call oil waste management in Chikube from Kingfisher Oils that are manned by Sinok. Okay. So when they drill oil, the waste that is hazardous to life, we are the one now managing the oil waste.
Hey, okay.
We also have, we manage waste that is internally and externally generated. For instance, medical waste into modern incinerators and engineered landfills. The railway industry is also into research and development. So we innovate and do research on some of the products. We have also partnership with other companies like Terya Motors Corporation. You have seen us produce buses utilizing railway industry's facilities. You have seen recently, you have seen a bus being handed over
to Uganda
Airlines.
Yeah.
This is a product that came from our factories. But we are also partnering with other joint ventures, like I told you, like Choga Dynamics. Choga Dynamics produces civil commercial explosives that we use in blasting rocks.
Okay.
You cannot talk of infrastructure development when you don't have explosives. You need to construct roads, you need to construct the dams. So you need to blast rocks, you need explosives. We also produce, we are also involved in maintenance, repair, and overhaul of MI helicopter series. These series, the helicopters we are using are made from Russia, and therefore to maintain, to repair, and overhaul, you needed to take them back to
Russia,
which was very, very expensive.
Very expensive shipping them back.
Shipping them. We now do them from here, from Nakasongara. So we have saved a lot of money in terms of repair. And of course, this is the only facility south of the Sahara. And recently, the president commissioned into freight the first overhaul helicopter in Africa. So we are talking of Next Strait. Next Strait is also a joint venture with NEC, which is involved in production of armored cars. Armored cars for both private and military. And so you can bring your car, it can be armored.
Hey,
you can also buy from us.
Bulletproof. So most of the SUVs and we see on the road that are really heavy, and
yes, please.
You guys are doing that.
We are doing that.
Okay.
Recently we exhibited one here at Serena. You remember?
Now, somebody watching will want to understand if they have their parcel and they want to... How much does it take to have a car armored?
We can discuss that one out.
It's for SUVs,
that is,
by saying parcel, I'm only trying to... There's one that we are seeing on screen there.
Yes.
They kind of... this one now is the military grade armored car.
Yes.
Those ones are for, of course, action. And
yes,
combat.
but you also have private cars that you can bring your car and be armored. You can also buy one from us. You can also order your own on your own specification. Then we make it. Basically, because we don't have time, that is where industries are.
That is where industries are.
Then we have NEC Construction Works and Engineering Limited, the one you talked about. That one handles construction works.
Only construction.
Civil architecture. And they can do it for defense, for government, and private individuals and companies. So you hire us like you hire any other company. The beauty with this is that we are rather cheap compared to other private players. And secondly,
how do you meet operational costs when you are deliberately cheap?
No, you see, we are government. We don't extort money. We don't have bribes. We don't have bureaucracy. So for that matter, we don't engage in those areas. But again, we will produce quality work and timely. You have seen us produce one of the flagships for NEC is Terya Motors Corporation, a factory in Jinja. We are building for Terya Motors Corporation to produce electric cars, buses. If you look at it, it is wonderful. We have built similar strategic infrastructures. We have made roads in Entebbe. We have built Uganda free zones at international airport. We are now building Uganda security printing company factory that will be printing variable products for ballots, like the rest. So that is NEC Construction Works and Engineering. Then we have NEC Agro SMC Limited that is involved in agriculture and business activities that into irrigation, food security, fertilizers, food supply. So that is another area that is under National Enterprise Corporation, under NEC Agro. We also have NEC Farms. NEC Farms, we have a farm in Gomba, another farm in Changwanza that produces, we have herds of animals, but also fattened woods for export. So for meat for export.
Okay.
So both in Gomba and in Chankwanzi.
All right.
Then we have Next Security Services Limited, that is provision of private guards, protection of vital infrastructure and assets. We're into cash protection of cash in transit.
Cash in transit, yeah.
Yes.
You guys on bullion vans.
Bullion vans. We have Nekuzuma. Nekuzuma that produces bottled natural mineral water. I emphasize the word natural. When you go to the market, there are waters that are not natural and others are natural. Take an example, you'll find packaged water, drinking water, and Ugandans don't understand. The water that is natural is bottled at the source.
Bottled at the source.
The minerals are different from what is packaged. Packaged can be boiled water, can be any other water. So what we need is to drink natural mineral water. Natural mineral water is the one we bottle at the source.
Okay.
And we invite NTV, of course, to start taking our water.
Oh, interesting. No doubt we shall find a collaboration.
Yes, sure.
Of course, a healthy, good water is no doubt very good.
So when you look at those subsidiaries, each subsidiary has its own mandate, and it has its general manager, a general manager who reports the managing director. So all these subsidiaries have general managers that report the managing director. In this case, who is Lieutenant General James Katongona.
Okay. So in a nutshell, we have a commercial army, so to speak.
Yes.
One that is heavily involved in the economy, in terms of the workings, including industries.
Because we wish to be self-reliant. Our army needs to be self-reliant.
What do you mean?
Because we need to win off from depending.
Can the military win off government support, state support?
Yes, financial support.
That is
so so such that when we do business, what we need here is market. If we produce this and we get the market, then we are able to contribute to socio-economic development.
Okay. So perhaps this might be a controversial question, but one that many people out there will be asking themselves. Where is the line drawn, especially when it comes to building installations? This is the scenario I want to bring on board. We have the war in Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Russia, and there is contention on what are the targets. And Ukraine often says that because this particular target belongs to the army or was set up by the army, then it is a potential target. When the army is involved heavily in the construction of critical infrastructure, at what point does a belligerent force restrain itself from looking at that particular installation as a target? After all, it is built by the army. It has the army all over it. I don't know whether that's a controversial question, but we seek to understand the things so that maybe we can look at it in a more...
Now, for us as NEC, I told you we are a commercial arm. Even the Ministry of Defense pays us to construct a certain installation. So we are not basically looking at the structure that will be built becomes for the army.
Okay.
I've told Chira Motors Corporation contracted us. The Chira contract is not an army institution. So we handed over, we shall hand over the institution. So if the army constructs to build the barracks, we shall build the barracks and be paid. So really, there is nothing they were targeted. Because now if NTV contracts us to build the station, their studio, it would not be an army institution.
You guys can build studios?
Yes. There's nothing we cannot build.
Interesting there.
Yes.
All right. Tell us about the challenges that you have encountered in executing your mandate, and what are the obstacles in terms of doing business? Do you face them? Of course, I know, like an entity in the field, you go through the same challenges like any other companies do, but how do you overcome them?
First and foremost, the Kenya as an institution, it is a government institution, we are also subjected to the PPDA rules, guidelines.
Yeah.
We have to go through stringent procedures,
bidding.
but remember, we are competing with private sector players, so we would not have these rules. So it is sometimes the delays the service delivery. It's sometimes the delays service delivery, and in this case, we,
as people with military or defense training, you're used to chop.
Yes, we need to do
and
things.
somehow you're told
hand it over.
Paperwork, go to office number 6.
Yeah, that is red tape. The
that tests your patience.
Our patience. But despite that, we keep on the discipline. We understand the strategic nature of such a business that we do, we undertake, and therefore we do it in a time that is given to us. Then secondly, of course, is funding. Kenya as a government parastatal. We have little we get from the coffers, and therefore sometimes they're not enough to meet.
The Yama gets a lot of money.
No, we are. I told it we are a parastatal. We are a parastatal like any other.
All right.
So we get money from government, and it may not be enough to meet the projects, the major projects I've told you that we are undertaking. And lastly, of course, is government not buying from government entities. You see, not forcing. You don't have a government department from buying another government department. If there was a policy, maybe that would be a better way of.
So that means sometimes you have nowhere to sell your products.
Sometimes the market, sometimes
even the government doesn't want to buy your products.
It's not deliberate, but sometimes.
Lastly, there are people who are qualified to do some of these jobs. They do them in the private sector, but they might want to shift and work with NEC. If I were an engineer or an architect who has qualified and have worked with a private entity for 2-3 years, how easy is it for non-military personnel to be incorporated in as far as expertise within NEC is concerned? Do you have a policy that is aimed, for example, that says at least 40% of the workforce should be civilians?
On the contrary, the biggest percentage in NEC is civilians. So most of the engineers are civilians. As long as an individual qualifies and has special skills, applies and gets a job in NEC. So most of these subsidiaries I've talked about are headed by general managers who are civilians. So there is no limit as whether one should join NEC or not. So it's not a requirement. All
right, I think that will do it for this conversation. With the Tarehe Sita coming up, you guys, where is the official celebration of the day?
This Tarehe Sita is going to be held in Greater Busoga, covering 11 districts and 1 city. That is Jinja City.
Wow.
And we invite Ugandans to join and contribute to this Tarehe Sita week, which begins today. So in any TV could go and could donate blood, that would be wonderful.
All right. All right, so let's break off. You're watching Morning at NTV. We shall be right back.
Thank you. Thank you.
To be precise, I'm coming to you live from Jinja City, where the UPDF is having community engagement. They started this particular engagement on Sunday, and yesterday they held community barras around the Jinja Central Market. And also as part of the activity, they also had general cleanliness around the Jinja City. Now, when you look at all these activities, this is as part of the preparation for Tarehe Sita celebration, which is being commemorated annually on 6. Now, when you look at Tarehe Sita, Sita is a Swahili word, just that general means that 6. And this day is being commemorated annually on 6th of February, following the rebellion that was launched by then National Resistance Army in 1981. And of course, there were 41 soldiers by then who launched this particular rebellion, and it was led by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is currently the commander-in-chief. To be precise, I've been joined by, that is Colonel Justice Rukundo, who is the team leader who is leading the UPDF here in this activity as they prepare for the Tarehe Sita celebration, which will be held in Bugiri district. Colonel, you're most welcome to Morning at NTV Show, where we want to understand, why are you having these activities in Jinja City?
Thank you very much, comrade, for that interview. First of all, I'm Colonel Justice Rukundo. I am the head of the mobilization team for Jinja City. We launched, like you said it, on Sunday. We had the launch in Jinja City at Warukuba Health Center 4. We are having the chief guest, who are the Honorable Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Vamranga Tsempija. And we launched all the activities. Yesterday, we had a very good football match after cleaning Masese landing site. We had a good football match, and we had also a big baraza with the landing site communities in order to show the togetherness between the UPDF and the local people. For the purposes of Tarehe Sita activities, I am heading the mobilization team, which is having a team of 9 officers, senior and junior officers, and we have about 70 troops who are here with us, who have been cleaning during the exercise. Tarehe Sita is the 6th of February. We commemorate the birthday of the NRA revolution. Maybe for purposes of collection, it was not a rebellion. What happened in 1981, it was a people's struggle for their democracy and liberation. So it was a liberation movement of freedom fighters, people who felt that the situation in Uganda was not good for the common man. Nobody was enjoying. So it was not a rebellion, but it was a revolution, a fundamental change, where people say that enough is enough, and they decided to organize themselves into a formidable force by force of arms to change the government. So it was the people taking up arms, assisted by a few organizers who were headed by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni now, but who by then was only a minister who left his office to also go in the bush and show that he liberates Uganda. Therefore, it is normally called NRA Liberation Struggle of Freedom Fighters, because it was a struggle for freedom and democracy in Uganda that has prevailed ever since then up to today. Therefore, that's what we are commemorating, the birthday of that revolution, which happened with the firing of the first bullet in Kabamba attack on 6th of February 1981, and in which, in 5 years record time, that revolution was emerged successful, whereby they defeated the then government and they took over power, which has remained so for the last 43 years. So this is a 43rd anniversary since the founding of the UPDF by then, which was a group of freedom fighters, resistance of the people of Uganda, and which made it to come into fruition on the 26th of January 1986, which was a dramatic and historical fundamental change.
Following the attack at Kabamba Barracks, we have seen a number of prominent people who were members of the struggle. We want to understand, what are some of the few achievements that UPDF has seen over the few years, now that we are celebrating the 43rd Tarehe Sita celebration ever since 1981?
Of course, the achievements since since 26th of January 1986, they can be seen by everybody. Even young and old, they can see it. There have been a fundamental change in all aspects of the Uganda's being, be it social, be it economic, be it political. Socially, there was a lot of sectarianism. There was a lot of lack of unity of purpose. People were organized along identities, along ethnic identities and religious identities. Today, you find a government which has got both religious groups. It has got people from all regions, and we don't vote somebody today because of religion or because of ethnicity, but because of capability, which was lacking during that time. You would only vote either UPC would have been somebody who is a Protestant, and DP would be somebody who is a Catholic. That was very clear, and those were the methods of organization. But NRM is a political party not of religion, not of identity, not of ethnicity, but a region of interest, which stands for 4 major principles, which is patriotism, love for your country and unity of purpose, and avoiding sectarianism. That's patriotism. Number 2, Pan-Africanism, which means that even Uganda, if you love Uganda, Uganda is not enough for us alone. We cannot defend ourselves against the colonizers if they come again. Therefore, we have political integration for strategic security and also economic integration for socio-economic transformation. So we have Pan-Africanism as the second principle. And we all do this patriotism and Pan-Africanism in order to change our lives for the better, which is socio-economic transformation, which is the third principle. But we all do those ones when we are democratic, allowing the people, the popular people, to have their leadership, which they like, every 5 years, which is done in Uganda. Different from there.
That is an officer of the Uganda People's Defense Forces briefing our very own Rashul Adidi on the Tarehe Sita events. That is an entire week that, of course, comes as celebration of what he said was the birthday of the revolution. Allow me return to the studio and wrap up with the public relations officer at NEC, that is the National Enterprise Corporation. Mr. Katongona, you say the Tarehe Sita is something that you are involved in, but not very actively. What exactly are you going to be offering this time around?
We have been participating in Tarehe Sita by contributing scholastic materials,
okay, medical
items. To this time round, we shall contribute PVC medical mattresses.
PVC, what?
Those ones that they use in the hospitals. The ones you see.
The ones that have plastic material.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
We shall also contribute books and pens, the ongoing school children, and also sanitary pads for girls.
Okay.
We hand over to the UPDF.
And the UPDF does the distribution.
The distribution.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to clarify on.
Yes.
And of course, it will mark the end of this discussion. Many thanks for emboldening our understanding of the operations of NEC. We do know that it's under the Ministry of Defense, and within NEC, there are also subsidiaries. So when you see the military constructing, sometimes do not get enraged and think there's something going on. Absolutely not. They're working well within their mandate. Now let's go to Uganda Manufacturers Association in Lugogo, where the selection process for senior